I'm so glad to have all of you here. Some of you have worked with me individually on what I'm going to be teaching and working with today, and some of you are coming from like knowing almost nothing about it. We have this really wide range of participants, which is really exciting. So bear with me if you're on either end of the spectrum, because there will probably be some times where either you might be feeling a little bit lost or you might be like, yes, I already know this, but it's always good to hear it again and have some repetition. Um, but it's really cool. We have a really amazing age span there's like a 60-year age span between the youngest and the oldest participants. That's really cool. And I've got a couple people who signed up from other countries too. So I think that that's just really awesome that we have this group coming together. Oh, sweet. Okay. So see, and here's another participant coming in. I can move it up like that. Okay, so pretty much I think all of you know me, but I might actually have some people joining who don't know me. So I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Amy, and for the last 20 years, which is crazy, I have been working as an art therapist. I actually, 20 years ago in May, finished my thesis on the topic of reconnection to soul through art. So it's pretty amazing that I've come full circle, and that's pretty much what I'm teaching is connection to soul and how to work with your energy field to maintain that connection and live from that connection. I have a private practice in Boulder, Colorado, where I do individual and family work. And this is the first time I've ever tried to do some kind of online thing. So I'm just going to see how this feels and how it goes. And I don't know, maybe I'll do more of these in the future. We will just see how this happens. So I am a therapist. My background is marriage and family therapy, art therapy, and I'm a licensed professional counselor. But I do just want to have the disclaimer that this is not therapy. So if you are somebody who's experiencing any kind of mental health issues, or if traumatic stress comes up in a way that's unmanageable for you, please reach out to your provider, whoever that might be. If you don't have a provider, I'm happy to try to help you after the course to connect you with some kind of services that could support you. I'm just feeling it. There's somebody else coming in. All right. So, and that being said, we are going to be working with energy and body awareness. And for those of you where that's a new experience, I just wanted to let you know that that might bring up some feelings, thoughts, nervous system activation that might be unexpected or something that you're not maybe making connections with in your mind. I know those of you who work with me understand that that's part of what this work is, but if you are coming in unfamiliar, just know that you may have that experience in the, what section is that? I think the 2:00 Mountain Time section of this course. I'm going to be covering a lot about neurobiology and the nervous system and traumatic stress and that kind of stuff. And we're going to be learning some tools in that segment that can help you with self-regulation. So if you do need that, that is coming. Okay. So I wanted to start by just sort of laying the groundwork and just kind of asserting what the framework is that I'm coming from and the sort of like spiritual framework that within the work that I do. I'm trying to present this in a really broad way so that it can harmonize and integrate with whatever your spiritual beliefs and practices are. It really shouldn't be anything that feels in dissonance. It's just kind of take things into your personal schema of how you experience your spirituality and your soul. But I do take a perspective that we are spiritual beings living a human experience, that the human being and the earth experience is just a temporary, tiny, tiny fraction of the journey of the soul. So I do experience, work with, remember, learn, know about past lives and other soul experiences that have happened to me, for me, and with the clients and the people that I work with. So I do work from that perspective. And I tend to overlay this idea that our souls, which is like a collection of really high vibrational consciousness frequency that is much higher vibrating than the human body and the human self and mind, that the soul is kind of on its own spiritual path that we oftentimes can't really understand from a human mind or a human perspective, because it's so much more expansive and higher vibrational than what our primitive archaic brains can understand. But that we're always kind of spiraling and moving toward a higher and higher and higher vibration. And part of how we do that, one way that we do that, is choosing to come into human form in the earth realm, because this is a really amazingly challenging and painful place to learn from the experiences here and the feelings and the physical somatic experience of living on the earth, which gives our soul a lot more kind of like tangible energy to work with, to transmute to higher frequencies. I'm going to be doing this a lot, letting people in. Okay. So if that is a new perspective for you, don't worry about it. I'll keep touching on themes and you can kind of figure out what makes sense in your mind and your perspective. And if you have questions, like I want this to be really interactive. So anything that you ask in the chat, I might not be looking at it right now, because even though I'm usually multitasking, that's just a little bit too much tech toggling for me. So you can definitely ask in the chat. If you are embarrassed to ask in the chat, you can also just text me or email me or something like that. And on the breaks, I'll be checking all my places. And no, there's like no such thing as a stupid question. So please ask away. Also, this is a super casual environment and background. Like, you will hear the rest of my life around me and behind me. And my partner, Brian, is in the room with me helping to manage some of the tech aspects that are happening. So you might even get a peek at him. And my dog, some of you know Maggie. Maggie's in the room too. So, and there's just normal life happening outside of this bedroom wall and with my family. So that is here too. So thanks for your flexibility and acceptance of whatever chaos may ensue. We just never know here in this house. Okay, so the approximate schedule, which I sent out, and maybe you've had a chance to look at it, is going to be that I'm going to sort of restart a new topic that's sort of developing on the prior topic at each hour on the hour-ish. I'm going to really aim for that. So we're going to be taking breaks in about the 15 to 10 minute mark prior leading up to the hour. So I'm planning this part to go till about 12:50-ish Mountain Time. So that'll give you about 10 minutes every hour to refresh, stretch, recharge, grab a drink, whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. And that will also be a chance for you to self-regulate, which we'll be talking about if things are coming up for you, because this is going to be practical and we're going to be doing some guided meditation, self-energy work together. So I also like to be really intentional when I'm teaching and working with groups, especially because this is actually totally new format for me to have total strangers in this kind of shared intentional space and group. Some people even strangers to me. And so I want to just be really conscious about setting an intention for the group, that we are all coming together in our own highest good, in the highest good of the group, and that we're here for learning and expansion and connection to soul. So that also reminds me that if you have a journal or something to write with or to draw on, or whatever art supplies you have around, you might just want to have that handy, because there probably will be things that you want to jot down or capture with image. And then I also always like to start any kind of energy work, any kind of awareness work, with breathing and coming into our internal space together. So I thought we would start with, this is actually a breathing exercise that most of you know that I practice yoga almost daily. And this is a practice at my studio that we do to open the classes and set the tone of the room coming together. And I love this breathing process because it actually connects with, I love the chat right now. I have to stop looking down. My ADHD is going to be crazy. But the breathing is great because we're going to be sort of tracing our energy field, which is at about an arm's length distance around you, like kind of an egg shape. And then we're going to be coming through the center, which connects with the central channel of the energy body, which is kind of like the energy spine. So the breathing is very simple and you can do it on your own pace. It is to, as you raise your arms, as you raise your arms out to the side, you take an inhale. Bring your hands together at the top. You can look up, look down, close your eyes, doesn't matter. And then on the exhale, you bring the hands down, sort of tracing the front line of your central channel. So as your breath and your awareness move with your arms and with your breathing, you may start to notice tracing the energetic boundary of your field, coming into the central channel, and then feeling the connection to the earth beneath you, just in whatever way you do that. So let's do about, let's say 6-7 breaths. I practice this all the time, so I breathe very slowly. If you're like double timing me, there's nothing wrong with that. You just do your pace, but I'm going to do probably about 6, and then I'll just bring us all together after that. So I'm going to close my eyes and you go ahead and start on your own time. And wherever you are, you can pause or take one more breath and we'll come together. You can especially notice the experience of feeling your own connection to your internal self while being in connection with a group. And you might already be feeling, as I am, a really high vibrational frequency running through you, because shared intention is super powerful. And it's like, I'm actually taking my sweater off because it makes me really hot when energy gets that high. So cool. Okay. Welcome. I feel like now we've arrived. I'm in my body. You're in your body. So I'm going to move into just discussing energy, general energy concepts, and I'm going to keep it somewhat brief. There's a lot more, quantum science behind this that I'm not going to get into. Either people already know about that or it's going to be too much. So I'm just going to kind of keep it very brief and just describe that literally everything you know, see, think, feel, are, is energy. You are made up of particles of energy that are moving. If you were to zoom into the table or something dense that's around you, you would not find pure mass, you would find particles moving. So every single thing is energy. So this whole approach has to start with accepting that, or at least trying to start to accept that into your mind, that what you see is actually moving particles forming the shape and the mass of what you're interacting with in the physical earth realm. So that's the beginning part. And then because everything is energy, that means everything has a frequency to it, has a vibration. And there's kind of like specific kind of flavors or themes of frequency is kind of how I think of it. So one thing that we're going to be working with in a little while is the actual frequency of your soul. Your true essence has its own, it's like a thumbprint, it has its own unique frequency. But there's also, shared collective frequencies of certain emotions or things like that too. So you can think of it that way. I'm also going to explain that everything has a complex energy field around it. So it's not just the part that you see, just my physical form looking at me. I have this expansive electromagnetic field of energy that surrounds me. So for the human body, the energy field, or sometimes I say the energy body, sometimes I say the field, I'll probably interchange some of these words, but the energy field is about an arm's length away, like just how we traced with the breathing. And it goes, under the floor, also an arm's length from the bottom of your feet. And it sort of contains and holds all of the information that makes up you and your experience. So most of us are feeling and experiencing ourselves through our thinking mind and our thoughts. And what we're working with today and what I'm teaching about is way more expansive and energetically based than that. So we'll get into that in a little bit, how to kind of tell the difference. So, and I, in that way, and we'll kind of work with this, but I just wanted to say also that every thought that you have actually starts as a frequency in your energy field and comes through the field into the body. The body sends signals to the brain. The brain creates cognitions that run along some kind of neural pathway based on your own, what you've already been conditioned and programmed to learn and understand about yourself and the world. So most of us come in at the thought level where we're just having the thoughts and we feel like that's everything, but there's this whole intricate process that happens well before the thought takes place. And we'll work with that a little more in a little bit. Okay. So what I want to do is, this is just like a fun kind of playful way to start, because a lot of people might come into this work and think like, well, what is she talking about? She's an energy healer. She does all this stuff. She knows what she's talking about. I'm just this person learning and listening. Well, actually, I believe that everyone is completely an intuitive and psychic being who can sense and feel energy. And I have never had anybody not be able to do this the first time that we've done it together. So what I would like to invite you to do, even if you've done this with me before, is to sit and put your hands into a ball, like maybe slightly bigger. All I can think of for my Chicago people is like a 20-inch softball. It's a perfect size usually. For me, I have to close my eyes because I'm very visual. So to really feel and sense, it helps me to close my eyes, but some people do better with their eyes open, looking at their hands. But I just want you to notice the space between your hands. Just notice that there's movement or weight or lightness or texture. And you can kind of play with that. You can move your hands a little bit apart, a little bit together, and just sort of reinforce the brain is like, what? And the brain wants to know that it's, quote, real. And so just let your brain kind of take in like, oh yeah, there's definitely some kind of sensation. We're probably all feeling very different things. You may notice other sensations in your body, but just also notice and differentiate between your internal awareness of yourself and the energy in your hands. It's actually different. You just let yourself take that in. I should mention too, I'm doing this whole course standing up because it helps me to stay grounded and aware of my internal space. And so if you are sitting and having a hard time, you might want to try standing. And so what we're doing right now, what you may or may not know, is that you're actually feeling and sensing an energy frequency in your hands. And it is likely you. It's likely your own frequency. So just notice without any judgment or analysis. Just notice what's there. You might even see colors. There might be a felt sense. There might be a direct knowing. There might be images or colors. And just let yourself kind of check in and understand that there's this frequency of energy that you're holding in your hands that is your true essence. And as you're noticing the energy in your hands, again, notice the way you can bring your awareness back to your internal space inside of you, your experience of yourself. And then almost like toggle your awareness back to the space between your hands where you can feel a frequency of energy there. The hands have amazing energy receptors, which is why they're so powerful for sensing and feeling energy. And now I'm just gonna have you do one other little fun exercise with this, where I want you to take your hands. They probably have a really high frequency in them right now. And you can put them just outside of your arm or your leg. It doesn't really matter. Keep your eyes closed if that helps you to sense. And just notice how you can actually sense your hand, even if it's not touching your arm or leg. And that space, that inch or so of space between your hand and your body, that's actually the first level of your energy body. It's like a grid of energetic information and frequency that connects from your outer energy field in through the body, which is then the energy that comes up to the brain to become a thought. Okay. How's that? Because you feel energy? You guys want to like some nods? Cool. Okay. So the format that I teach, the philosophy that I use is this basic exercise that we just did, where we tapped into an awareness part of our mind, a part of us that can just be observing or noticing or witnessing ourselves or something else, rather than the part of our mind that is the thinking, judging, knowing part of our mind. It's like it's just an omniscient observer to what is and what is happening. And as you practice through meditation, connecting to your own awareness, your awareness then becomes a tool that you can actually use. You can use it to grow your self-awareness. You can use it to just generally connect with energies and sort of understand things in a broader, more expansive, energetic perspective. You can connect really deeply with your energy field and really get to know it. That's like a whole, long course to learn that specific way. And then you can actually change, and you may have done this just automatically, but you can use your awareness mind to change the frequency that you're observing also. So this is a really beautiful, kind of efficient, because energy moves quickly. It's not dense like the body, it's quick. So if you are having a negative experience or a chronic problem in your body or something like that, using your awareness as a tool to shift the frequency of the energy within you or around you in your field can be a really powerful way to work with yourself to have a better experience. You also may, if you're a highly intuitive person and you're more mentally connected, you may notice that your awareness mind is almost more like an intuition, like a just knowing, or direct knowing is another thing we call that. There's lots of different, if you've ever heard of the clairs, like clairvoyance, most people have heard of that, but there's many different clair senses, clairaudience, clairsentience, etc. And so most of us have one or two clairs that we're really particularly strong in. So someone might really feel a feeling in the body, whereas someone else might see images or pictures or even words, or hear or smell or taste sensory experiences. So it's different for everybody. I know a lot of people, it's kind of like having, straight or curly hair, or living in the mountains or by the ocean. Like everybody wants the opposite thing. So a lot of us have our strength, but we really wish we could see it or hear the words or whatever. So just try to stay with what you already have as your natural intuitive gift, and let that be your way. As you practice this and become more aware, you will pick up on more of the clair senses and be able to use and integrate those more, and almost kind of move between them. Okay. I'll say a little bit more about differentiating between the awareness mind and the thinking mind, because that's really the basis for being able to do this work. And I realize that that can be hard to understand or confusing for people who are newer to this approach. So when you think about anything, think about listening to me talk, think about, what is she saying? What's thinking mind? That voice that's inside of your mind narrating or analyzing, that's how you know you're thinking mind. It's the part of your awareness that is so tuned into your cognitions that it is just grabbing thoughts and paying attention to those. And that is the sense of self and the sense of reality. So most of us as humans, that is how we exist. Maybe not in childhood, but as we are conditioned and programmed into this very dense material world that we live in, that's kind of what we begin to see as ourselves, is the thinking mind. So you can always know that you're in your thinking mind if you are judging, narrating, analyzing, making a decision, remembering, any of those kind of thoughts. Whereas the awareness mind is this totally other, more expansive experience, where it's just sort of picking up information, and you are experiencing that through observation of felt sense, of any of the colors or things we talked about, texture, things like that. You're just sort of observing something instead of having thoughts about that thing. And even when you practice meditation and connecting with your awareness mind, we are human beings and we are very, very anchored to our brains. So you will go back into your thinking mind, and that is fine. That's normal. I tell people all the time, meditation is not stopping thinking or stopping your brain. Thank goodness we have brains that fire so many cognitions, because that's what makes us be able to think intellectually and do all kinds of really amazing things on the earth. But it's more that you're going back and forth, or catching yourself and noticing when you're only in your thinking mind, and then shifting yourself into that more expansive awareness state. So again, meditation is the best way to practice connecting with your awareness mind. And meditation can be anything, literally anything, where you're sitting still and observing, or walking slowly and observing. You can be observing internally, you can be observing externally. It really doesn't matter. Of course, things like nature, sitting in nature, or going for a walk outside or something like that are really nice ways to support coming into your awareness mind, because it's just kind of easier when things are nice around you. Using guided meditations is awesome too. Actually, I'm going to be doing that with you today shortly. And I have some recorded things I'm always happy to share. They're super informal, but and my YouTube channel has some guided meditations there too that you can access if you would like to practice. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else I want to say. Oh, and just, I did want to mention, when I say somatic, not everybody knows what that means. That just means in the body, a physical sensation. So I use that more than I say body and physical, I think. And somatic sensations are a really great way to practice being in the awareness mind if you just want a quick toggle. So if you're catching yourself in thoughts and you want to try to toggle to the awareness mind, just a really simple one is, how does my hand feel right now? And you can just close your eyes and feel the aliveness or the energy in your hand. And then already you're connected to a somatic sensation, and that brings you to the awareness mind. So that's a simple technique. Okay, so what I would love to do now is invite everyone into a kind of more extended guided meditation. So this might feel a little bit like when we were doing the exercise with the energy in your hands, but we're going to be connecting with your awareness mind and just feeling the whole self of you. So again, for anyone, if you have any strange sensations that come up, if you're not somebody who's used to tuning in with your body, you might have a pretty remarkable experience as you do that, because the body stores information in our cells and in the layers of the energy field. And when we tune in and go there, that information becomes available. So most of us, many humans, spend our time just in our heads thinking and feeling, and we only feel our body when it's like screaming out for us to pay attention, when we have an injury or some kind of chronic problem. So this is going to be more subtle tuning in than that. And just know that if you feel overwhelmed or something like that, you can take a break. You can do really anything you want right now. But I'm going to be starting a guided meditation in just a second here. So as I mentioned, I personally like to stand because I'm very spiritually inclined, and I tend to float away like a balloon or kind of like drift off in my thoughts. And so it helps me to stand up to do guided meditation. But you can lie on your back on the floor. You can sit upright. It's nice to have support for your back if you're sitting, because the back chakras really can help support the meditation process. And when they're pressed against a cushion or a wall or something, that can really help. And you can also come and go from it, in and out, eyes open, eyes closed, really whatever you're comfortable with. And if you need to switch in the middle, totally fine. The way that I teach meditation is like really anything goes, as long as you're just breathing and observing and coming back to breathing and observing whenever you find yourself not doing those things. That's as simple as it is. Okay, so I'm going to channel the meditation with my eyes closed, and see, I kind of get a wide stance because it helps me feel grounded to do that. So go ahead and find a connection to your sense of your internal self, your internal space. Maybe with your eyes closed, or maybe with a soft gaze looking down. And just allowing whatever is to be. There's no special way or special thing for you to do in this moment. Just letting your awareness lightly listen to my guided words while staying in touch with your internal space, settling deeper into the layers of yourself, moving deeper down into the body, maybe feeling your abdomen or your legs, maybe even your feet, letting you feel the whole of yourself. And just starting to notice any sensation that's there, which can also include a lack of sensation. Using your breathing if you need an anchor or a way to connect back in and away from the thinking mind, but also just noticing and honoring the thinking mind. It's just doing its thing. It's just an organ inside of your dark skull, a primitive, archaic organ that has not evolved a whole heck of a lot in recent times. If you have trouble coming out of your thinking mind, you can even tell yourself, I'm noticing I'm thinking, or something like that, to give yourself a little bit of space from the thoughts. And just dropping into any other somatic experience or sensation you might be feeling. You can also use your hands, just like we did in the beginning, if that was helpful for you. Focusing on how the hands feel, or putting energy in between the hands, or just noticing maybe your hands against your legs, sitting in your lap or something like that, and just feeling the sensation. And the more connected you feel with your internal space, the more you can really start to make out a connection with your central channel. There's this tube of a beautiful white, clear light that runs through the center of you. It's a part of the energy body. It's like the middle or the spine of the energy body. You can think of it as connecting from the crown chakra at the top of the head. And this tube of light travels through the center of your body, just forward of the spine, the skeletal spine, and moves out through the root chakra, the space between your legs. This central channel is your connection to all higher frequencies. You can think of it connecting to higher self or to your soul frequency, but also to guides, spirits, angels, higher knowing, God, source, the universe, the cosmos, whatever the higher frequencies and the more expanded perceptual states you can connect with, or just whatever your schema is for connecting to higher vibrational energy. And when our soul is in human form, embodied in human form, that central channel of light also comes down through the body, connecting through all of the chakras, which are like portals of centralized energy that hook and anchor you to the energy field, the energy body that's around you at an arm's length bubble of space. And this central channel also provides a connection that anchors into the beautiful molten metallic center core of the earth. This is what allows us to exist as spiritual beings in the earth dimension. You may feel sensation, you may feel expansion the more we connect with this energy, the more I talk to you through these parts of yourself. But everyone's experience is unique. So just sense and feel what you are connecting with inside of yourself, inside of your body, at the center of your energy field. For some, it may be easier to feel and sense energy by feeling the space around your body. Many of us have had to orient in this way in order to feel safe or connected as a human. We haven't been able to anchor in and feel connected as our center. We're more connected to the energies happening outside of us or the other energy fields in our family system, for example. So it may be easier for you to feel the air on your skin or a tingle or flow or see colors in the space that's around you. Just keep breathing and noticing. And again, come into that central space as you can, central channel, the beautiful crystalline white light, the energy running through you as your center, connecting you up and into the cosmos and down and into the earth. And start to really tune into the frequency of energy at your center. This is your true essence. This is your birthright to have this soul energy, this soul consciousness frequency running down through the human body, making you truly a multidimensional being here on the earth. But really let yourself feel the sensation of that crystalline light through the central channel, focusing wherever you can feel it the most. Many of us have connection somewhere either in the heart space. I personally like to feel the high heart, which is top of the sternum. Others of us may feel this very low in the pelvis, around the sacral chakra at the bikini line, or around the lower dantian, if you're familiar with that. Again, just breathing, noticing, observing, and feeling somatic sensation, and gently letting your mind, your awareness mind, connect with this idea of your personal soul frequency, unique to you, like a fingerprint, yet the same material, the same consciousness as the everything, but your unique note or flavor of that frequency coming through you as your center. And the more you become aware of this as a somatic sensation in the body through the center of you, and the more you orient your brain and your awareness to connect with this as your true self, your highest version of yourself, the more clear your energy can become, the more strong and clear your energetic boundary around your field can become. And from this space is where you can begin to be energetically self-responsible, managing your own energy field in order to manage and self-regulate your emotions, thoughts, feelings, and reactions to create a better and better experience of your internal state, creating deeper connections in relationship to others, and creating more clarity and deep intuitive knowing as your truth. Always just breathing and noticing. You are intermixed with a nervous system, which is meant to think, to check, to react, to keep you safe. It is the opposite of feeling your soul frequency. And they are always, as long as you're embodied as a human, in a constant dance with each other. But your awareness mind, with practice, with meditation, can become a stronger and stronger tool for directing where your focus is and bringing it back to your soul frequency at the center of your energy field through the central channel. Understanding this is your higher self, your deepest knowing, your true center of being. And allow yourself to feel and choose your favorite sensation of the somatic experience of your soul frequency. and savor that in these last moments of this meditation. And sort of mark or memorize that feeling or that sensation of how that is for you, so that you can recall that and get yourself back into this space of awareness through that somatic sensation or memory, as quickly as closing your eyes and coming into the awareness mind. Breath is always the connection to the body. Awareness of somatic sensation is always a way out of the thinking mind. And try again to conjure or remember or feel strongly that sensation that you marked or remembered as a way to feel your beautiful, unique essence of yourself, your soul frequency, the center of you. And you can continue on in meditation if you'd like to for a little while. But it's time for us to take about a 10-minute break from the course. So take care of yourself in any way that you need. Reach out to us via the chat or personal phones if you need to. And I will see you back here at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. All right, I'm jumping out of neuroscience Amy mode, and I'm just diving full on into the woo-woo for this segment. So the other things that affect our ability to be in our awareness mind in a total connection with our soul frequency at all times includes a whole list of more ethereal reactions and experiences that are held in the energy body and come in as energetic experiences that aren't always conscious to the mind. So I'm going to kind of go through some of these. I definitely invite questions. I know that there's lots of things on this list that are probably new concepts for people, at least people who aren't working with me on this stuff already. Well, I also wanted to say, Brian was just reminding me, I know that my orientation comes across as like very trauma oriented and nervous system based, like we're all just like constantly walking around in a state of traumatic stress response. And when you're not subtly tuned into your body, that probably sounds really extreme and kind of crazy. But actually, the more you tune into yourself and the more you're really present in a subtle way with your body and your somatic and energetic sensations, the more you realize that actually you are always in a state of reaction to your environment. And it's just way more subtle than the things that typically kind of nag our attention, that feel bigger or stronger or take over our thoughts. So the way that what I'm referring to is being like orienting to yourself in a new, more constant, more subtle way, slowly over time with practice and exercise, in order to love yourself more fully, to come into your wholeness more of the time, to feel a sense of connection to your soul frequency more of the time, and to overall just have less suffering or negative experience in your day-to-day life. So that's kind of my framework. Okay, so let's see, where do we want to start with the woo? Let's start, let's just start with collective consciousness and collective energies, because I think this is a really easy one to understand. So this kind of, to bring it a little bit back into the science realm, if you've studied any Jungian psychology, Carl Jung would talk about the collective conscious. This actually goes back to my art therapy training. My graduate program was super Jungian. And this idea that as human beings, no matter where we are on the earth, we all have certain concepts like mother or the sunshine or tree, home. There's certain like concepts that are so much bigger than the personal experience, that these are the things known as the collective conscious. But I also think of the collective conscious as the greater mind of the whole. Like, not that all humans are thinking the same thing, but when there's like collective human experience, such as this super insane pandemic situation that we're all living through right now, we are also affected by the energetics created by the collective thought or the collective experience or energy of that thing. So in the past year, so you may have heard me about a little over a year ago, I got brave enough to start to hit record on my phone every once in a while to just sort of like spontaneously talk about the energies that I could feel in the collective conscious, like themes, emotions, things like that. And that's kind of what I'm talking about here. So with the pandemic, for example, without getting totally into it or getting political or anything like that, what I have experienced this to be is really about a fear frequency, like an energetic frequency of fear that has just rippled and continue to ripple and restart and ripple again around the entire planet. So we're all in connection to that energy, no matter what we think or feel or experiencing individually. That's still something. It's kind of like weather. Like, what's the weather today? Is it sunny? Is it stormy? What's happening? And the collective conscious energy is kind of like that. So just sort of knowing like what are the other energy frequencies that are at play that might be how we talked about energy is, information is always coming in energetically through your energy field into the body, into the somatic experience, and then carried up to the brain to then become a thought, a cognition. So in that way, if we're not tuned into the collective energies, then that stuff's just like kind of coming at us and we're not aware of what's ours, what's our own. And we're not aware of what's our own, what's, what we're feeling and what's just kind of an external collective energy that's there. And I know a lot of you here today are super intuitive, empathic humans, and especially all of us empaths take that stuff on. We're just like a sponge for the collective energies around us. So if you've ever had the experience where you're just sort of like, I don't know, maybe a little sad, you're not really sure why you're down, nothing really happened, it might be that you're just picking up your little sensors, your energy receptors are picking up on some kind of a sadness in the collective. You might feel this when you walk into a room or a group. You might feel like something shifts, like you feel a little different all of a sudden, and you're kind of picking up on like that collective group's energy or something like that, that can be actually translated into an emotional feeling. So, or you might even just brace to it or have a nervous system reaction. And my nervous system is super reactive to collective conscious stuff. It's just like constantly taking it in and reacting. And I'm noticing and then regulating that and understanding that it's that and not me, and setting up a strong energetic boundary. So, what else do I want to say about that? So that's kind of the going back to this concept of focusing your awareness mind and beginning to strengthen and use that self-directed focus of your awareness mind. You can self-direct your focus to know, okay, I think I'm picking up on whatever energy that's outside of me. I can kind of tell, I can feel that's not me. You find your own frequency again, wherever your kind of spot is for yourself to come back to, like that first meditation we did where you're in your own soul frequency. And then you can feel that it's out here or it's other or it's around you. And then you can actually strengthen and expand your energy field to have more strength, like you're almost feeding your soul frequency out through the layers of your field to hold your space, which is your energy field, to be yourself, your frequency, your understanding. And that collective energy can kind of stop at the edge of your field. If that makes sense. This is also like just physically kind of tracing your energy field. Like I think of like combing the energy field like this. That can kind of help. The jumping jack exercise that I showed you earlier, and also the one-legged stand like this can be really nice for like the whole energy field and kind of getting that structure back so that you can understand what's you and what's not you. Let's see a question here. Yes. So the question is about, are we all one? And I do believe that everything, all consciousness is the same innate material. Probably not the right word. It's always so hard to put words to these things. And what creates us as like a unique individuated experience of that is the conscious mind filtered through the human brain. So the human brain and the energy of ego connected in through our limbic system is what makes us separate, me, I, you, there kind of thing. But we do have, there's just like a little tweak to the frequency of each human that is super unique, just like a fingerprint. So it's like, I mean, I guess if you use the fingerprint analogy, like we all have fingerprints, but they're just slightly different. And you can't tell from out here, and you have to really zoom in and find the little details to see how it's different. And that's kind of how our soul frequencies are. It's very complicated when trying to understand this through the human brain, because that is like the thing that makes us be disconnected and not one. So, I mean, that in and of itself could also be another whole course. So maybe we'll do that one sometime. Okay. So what is something else? Well, it's the new moon soon in like a matter of hours. So I'll go into more of the astrological and cosmic energies that can affect and come into the energy field and become something that is affecting even our regulation state. And again, it's the same kind of thing where it's something that's outside of you coming in through the field, and then being able to differentiate or separate from that being you or the other energy. So if you think about it like this, let me just say something about astrology first. I know that people have different opinions about what it is, what it means. I find astrology to be so amazing and such an untapped way of thinking about energies and our experience. And I have only started a deep dive into astrology over the past couple of years, and it is so like never ending. Like you could study it for your whole life and still not understand all the nuances. So I do not call myself an astrologer, or, I'm not at the expert level with it. But when I think about how teeny tiny us silly little human beings are on the planet, and how enormous just the earth is, and the earth is like not even that big, but the planets, the planetary bodies are so massive we can't even conceptualize how big they are. The sun is so massive we can't even conceptualize. Maybe can you find that picture and put it in the chat? Can you put pictures in the chat? Well, that shows like the actual size, like if you actually line them up next to each other. It's just a cool image. Anyway, so I can't imagine that here we are on the earth, teeny itty bitty tiny little ants of beings that we are on the earth, and that these enormous planetary bodies that are moving in their own patterns and paces in the solar system are not affecting us. And there's, the cosmos goes way beyond our solar system, right? So there's so much happening. This, again, I think it's like a whole other course on just that. But there can be like cosmic or astrological alignments, transits, placements, events, conjunctions, things that happen in space that create an energy pattern that trickles all the way into our teeny itty bitty little earth, into our teeny itty bitty little energy selves, and we feel that. So, for example, the new moon, just because it's happening now, and you might be feeling this. And anytime, so, every 28-ish days, we have a new moon. So this is a pattern that's also like pretty familiar to us. Plus the moon is super close to the earth. So we feel it pretty strongly. Those of us who are empaths anyway, feel it very strongly. And the new moon is when there's basically no sun reflecting off of the moon's surface. So we don't really see it in the sky. The sky is actually darker. And you kind of think about, the moon is connected to like wateriness and nurturing energies and creativity. And so those kinds of things are sort of like at a lull or at a slow, and we're sort of like more naturally moving inward, more naturally slowing down or stepping away, or um, even like feeling more tired. It's connected to setting intentions or planting seeds or sort of preparing for a beginning, which then is like the full moon coming out in 14-ish days. So we feel these energies coming in from where the moon and the sun are in conjunction to the earth, and we sense them. It's really fascinating. When you don't follow astrology, it's like you just aren't even paying attention to this stuff. But as soon as you tune into that and you start to notice the cycles in yourself, like for me, when I finally put it together that every full moon, I have like insane amounts of energy for creative projects. I start writing books. I start 25 things. I plan to make a flower farm. Like I do crazy things. And then I'm like, oh, it's just the full moon, right? So that's an example of like in my life, how it looks to like not be aware of those external energies and how to like orient myself and work with them. So it's more like I'm becoming more and more and more and more with this awareness practice in a state of just reorienting again and again, 100 times a day, to my soul frequency, what I'm seeing, sensing, feeling inside of me, what's external to me, and how I want to be in relationship to that energy. If I want that to come in, if I don't want that to come in, which I'm going to actually talk about. There's a little bit of chatter and questions going on. Okay. So when I talk about taking in energy that's not our own soul frequency, that's from other or external, I think of it like you're almost like in a snow globe and there's just like little particles coming in. So it doesn't necessarily come in through specific parts of your body or your chakra system, but you might have a way that your awareness picks up on that energy, because that's just kind of how you're programmed or what your awareness habits have been or how you know how to be. So what's a good example? I think this relates more to the next topic actually, but I have certain parts of my body where I know through this sort of self-exploration and self-awareness in this realm that I know, oh, I feel that usually, here, or I get that like tweak in my hip kind of when this sort of one pattern is happening outside of me. So I kind of get to know how some of these energy patterns come in through my body. I guess to answer your question, it's really unique to each person. And so you actually might have a way that you have like a really strong chakra that's one of your main communicators that kind of picks up more information and brings it into your body for your awareness, for your attention. And maybe you experience it that way. Maybe if you have more specific questions too, we can kind of chat after about that. But it's more like, I think more like the snow globe idea, like the energy is everywhere. It's just kind of like connecting and integrating. It's just the point of our awareness where we pick up on it or feel it. That makes sense. Okay. So another thing, there's two other kind of themes that I wanted to talk about that are in this more kind of ethereal space, as far as energies that we are in touch with all the time, that are there, that are around us, but that aren't necessarily like our own soul frequency, that are not that individuated part of our consciousness. And so that is ancestral lineage is a really important and strong one. So this is very earth-based, very human, like family tree kind of level, family constellation kind of level. You can on the thinking mind and the mental level, you can think of this as like the story you know about the history of your relatives. You can think about it like that. You can think about it like DNA lineage, like genetic traits or conditions. You can think about it as like ethnic, cultural, nationality type identities. Um, let's see, just intergenerational patterns, personality kind of traits and types that are a part of the pattern, ways of being, rituals, rites of passage, holidays and celebrations, like all the things you think of when you think of your family or your family tree, those also have an energy to them. And that energy exists as something you can feel and sense. I mostly personally, and I think I would say this is pretty universal, it's something that's like behind us. It's almost as if our ancestors line up behind us and are sort of like still trying to be in connection or have influence or live through us in some cases. That one can really be connected to the back of the heart chakra, I feel like, because it does have that like relational love kind of feeling. And but you know, you can kind of feel it anywhere behind you. It's really interesting to do. You can do kind of like a twist, like you would in yoga, where you're keeping your body forward, but you're turning your ribs and shoulders to the side and gently look behind you. And you can oftentimes see or sense or know that there's almost this like line of people back there. Like the spirits are just lining up, ready to like be in connection with you. And they're excited. They want to support you. They want to influence you. Like, who knows? They all have different things, different ways that they're stuck or different things they're trying to communicate. But you can like really feel them back there. And you can really, I'm just like making up new ideas for courses. I'm like, that's like a whole course is just understanding ancestral lineage stuff. But again, clear, healthy, energetic boundaries, us being able to kind of cleanse and clear out and be in our highest vibrational state in order to then harmonize and be in a higher vibrational relationship with the energies around us. In that way that we are all connected and we are all one consciousness, but we want to sort of like clean up what's ours and be responsible for that. And so that we can connect with other. In that way, you can kind of invite or request that ancestral lineage energy just kind of leaves the back of your field and goes outside of your outer level of your field. So they still get to be there. They're so important. The stories, the history, the lineage, like all that stuff matters. And it certainly matters on the human level. But energetically, it can do things like push you or weigh you down, alter something that's in your highest good to be sort of like skewed or a little off, or like repeated patterns, especially around money, food, illness, some of those kind of topics that get real behavioral or DNA oriented. You can actually create a better, healthier experience inside of your human being, yourself, if you get some space and have a strong, energetic grid kind of filter of those energies. And they're kind of sneaky because they're like behind you, right? Like we're so forward and front facing oriented that it's like we don't even feel them back there sometimes until we either have a crazy back thing or something that we just like feel really strongly in our body by the time it's there. I'm even thinking, like, if you ever have connected with like ancestral lineage stuff in a dream and you almost wake up in that like let's start where your body kind of rolls forward, that's like that same thing, that energy that's like behind you. So you can kind of like do this nice thing where you honor and acknowledge and share gratitude and love and connection and thank your lineage and allow them to just be an arm's length away at your back, because you get to be here in your highest good for your highest purpose, for your soul and your soul frequency in this human lifetime on the earth. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Oh, and then past lives is the other topic I wanted to talk about briefly. Again, could be like a 10-year course. So without getting into like religion or spirituality that has more of a structure to it, my experience in channeling and working with lots of different human beings, both alive and dead over the years, is that our souls do bounce in and out of this reality, this earth realm, this experience in human form. And we take different form. I won't get into all, I know there's probably a lot of questions about that. It's okay to ask, but I probably won't go too far down any direction with that, other than to say this human lifetime now is really like a pinpointed moment on this like long lifeline trajectory of this sort of continuous soul frequency. So it's just sort of like going in and out of different embodied or concentrated experiences of itself. So here and now, it just happens to be here in this form, in this energy field, in this time and place on the earth. So past life energy, though, there can be like pieces of that, fragments of past life experience that are still mixing together with the here and now of this human form. Also, without getting into the time space continuum, past lives are also happening now, like it's all at the same time. So you can almost be, I said earlier that we are multi-dimensional beings, and we're actually connected to many dimensions all at the same time, running through our central channel. I think of it like the hinge on a door where, the pin runs through and then the door can turn. It's like we're sort of like have all this, we could fan out into all these different dimensions. We're just here on the earth right now, on this timeline here and now. But so we can have past life energies, even that are like sort of like real-time experiences in this other time and place that are coming through our field and into our body and into our awareness. So this would be another time where you can kind of discern, like, is this happening now? What is this? This on a very human thinking mind level, this relates to like if you have an irrational fear. I have a lot of irrational fears. I'm trying to think of a good example. It's not too gruesome or terrible. I don't know. But irrational fears are a good example of like possibly something that comes from a past life energy, something that you did experience or witness or whatever. A lot of us, I just keep talking to the empaths because I know that's probably who's sticking around for this course or interested in it to begin with. So a lot of us empaths, I would actually say all of us empaths have some kind of past life experience with mob trauma, which is like, most generically, you can think of the witch trials or something like that, where like you were like the witchy, weird, psychic healer, earth mama, fairy person, and you had an experience where you were called out or even attacked, assaulted, murdered, whatever horrible thing happened, that was like the mob turning on you, the mainstream, the other turning on you. So many of us who've been in those, embodied in those ways, we choose it again because we want to come back again and kind of like get that learning that we didn't get to complete in that lifetime through our soul's frequency in this here and now. But we kind of carry that little bit of like residue from that past life, so that we might actually have a fear of public speaking, or we might be super introverted and we don't want to be in big groups of people because it's just kind of scary, even though there's not a reason in this lifetime to feel that way. So a few of you actually knew me as a tiny kid. I was almost completely silent as a child. Like I didn't speak at school. I literally didn't speak. Like there were times when they thought I had selective mutism. I remember showing up for the first day of high school and seeing a guy that I'd gone to elementary school with. And I said hi to him and he said, "Oh my God, that's the first time I've ever heard your voice." Well, that's like how quiet I was. That's how much I carried my kind of mob trauma into this lifetime, and then kind of reenacted it, or let my external thinking mind analysis of my life reinforce that fear in me. So still, even doing this today, I might seem comfortable, I might seem like myself, like I know what I'm talking about, whatever, but I still have a lot of nervous system activation, even right this second, standing right here right now, putting myself out there in this way. This is like activating some of my mob trauma that I'm like regulating constantly. So that's an example that is probably pretty universal in this group. Um, Past life energy. So this is interesting because there's not a universal way that this is held in the body. Although I will say a lot of the back energy, it also has past life connection. So I know some yoga lineages will even talk about the calves and the hamstrings, the muscles there kind of, and the cells hold some past life energy or karmic toxins, or that kind of verbiage is used. Um, but I don't feel that there's like a universal place to feel past life energy. Like I know I have one that is like this spot under my knee. It's like a very specific place. And I know when I feel stuff there, okay, this is past life, what's happening, so it probably relates to things that have happened to my body in another lifetime. Um, I'm trying to think of like a million. I do a lot of this work in individual sessions with clients, and there usually is a place or two in the body that were somehow affected, injured, whatever, often horrible things in a past life, where that's where the thing is felt. The part of you that has a hard time um, feeling your wholeness and feeling your soul frequency through that space. If that makes sense. So past life energy is how you work with that in your awareness, because that's like a self energy, even though like the other energies I've talked about, collective, astrological or cosmic, ancestral lineage, that stuff is still other or outside of you, or has the frequency of it is just a notch off from your soul frequency. But the past life energy is your frequency distorted, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like how your thinking mind distorts your current present life reality. The past life energy is also like that. It's like filtered and stuck through the lens of the ego experience of who you were then, if that makes sense. But it's coming through now as energetics that you can feel and sense through your body, or that might even become a thought. Yeah, so you can, if you're interested in this, which I would imagine you probably are because it's really cool and interesting to think about, you can connect to your Akash, or your Akashic records, as it's known and called in many cultures, ancient cultures, um, through your connection to your central channel, which we practiced earlier, and then going up through some of the higher chakras that are above the head. They're like super crown chakras, for lack of a better term. You can like actually hook into that channel or that frequency. That's like really strong. You could probably see it coming through right now. And it's like layers of information, stories, a lot of words, code, blueprint, circuitry, memory flashes, like pictures, like it's sort of like a big information dump, it can feel like. But if you really tune it through the center of your being, and you're in a really open, receptive space for channeling, you can get really clear answers to what exists in your own Akashic records. And whenever you do that, whenever you connect to that kind of higher space that's well beyond the human understanding, you just always want to have like a really grounded, centered, boundaried way of holding your energy field before you connect into something like that. And yes, there are people who can like teach you and help you to do that. It's like kind of a whole thing. So I just want to kind of quickly touch on it. Yeah, and that's another thing about past life stuff. It can be relational. Like you probably do have some kind of past life history with some of the close people in your life, partners, parents, children, that kind of thing. So there can be, you know, like when you have that sort of like thing, that dynamic, that conflict, that, whatever, some dynamic that repeats itself, that happens, and you like can't even help it. Like you just kind of here we go again, me and this person doing this thing we do. A lot of times that can actually have its roots in some kind of past life experience together that never got resolved or worked through. So it can be really powerful to apply this kind of past life awareness in relationship too. Um, okay. I was going to talk about one other thing in this ethereal segment of Amy going it full into the woo. Um, so another thing, this kind of connects, this sort of like bridges back to the last segment where we were talking about nervous system reaction and the innate reflexive way that we protect ourselves. There's an energetic way that we also do that same kind of reactive, reflexive response to a threat, but we do it with our energy field, perhaps connected to our nervous system reaction, but perhaps totally separate. They can be either way. And I just think of this as energetic self-protection that's unconscious. And how it works is that your energy field, rather than, being in this like blissful, amazing, centered, grounded, boundaried, soul frequency connected place that we wish we could be in all the time because it feels amazing there, rather than being in that, we might go into this like habituated reaction that we've maybe even done since we were kids, where we are doing it unknowingly, thinking that we're protecting ourselves, but it's actually in like kind of a skewed way. So there's ways that you can brace with your energy field, or block, or shrink, or scooch to the side, or lift off, or attack, or manipulate, or shoot daggers, or close off, or suction in. So there's all these like really complex ways that our energy fields kind of work in energetic relationship with each other that comes from unknowing, unconscious, totally innocent, just energetically trying to protect ourselves. So that's just something, as you go deeper, if you go deeper into a soul energy level self-awareness, kind of soul growth, and start to really understand yourself as this energetic being and how you are and how you behave in the world and how you relate, you can really start to work with noticing when your energy field does stuff like that, and noticing without judgment. It's just something that we all do in order to feel okay in our worlds. And we also were conditioned and kind of programmed or patterned in our family of origin to be in a way with our energy field that worked and felt safe and felt loving in our family system, where everybody else was also doing their thing. So it's kind of like a puzzle of energy fields doing the thing that they do habitually, automatically, and then relating to each other and kind of having to fit together. And that's how we sort of get like programmed or conditioned in the kind of subtle reflexive ways that we react to each other. So this is a really interesting and beautiful place to work as far as like really becoming soul and self-aware, and then using that tool we talked about of focusing your awareness mind on your energy being and on your somatic sensations to better understand yourself and better regulate yourself. So the more you can pick up on what your energy field is doing without needing to know or understand why or how, or worrying about if it's from past life or whatever other thing, just noticing like, oh, wow, my field really shrinks down a lot of the time. I notice that. And then I feel it because I feel tight. I tighten my body. I'm breathing more shallow. I feel nervousness. My heart's beating faster. My neck is tight. My jaw's clenched, whatever the little cues are that you find in your somatic awareness, that just then tells you, oh, I just shrunk my energy field. Let me just use some of maybe the nervous system tools that we talked about in the last segment, do some breathing, do some energy boundary calming, let ourselves kind of breathe and be in the space that we're in, taking up the whole of our energy field, and starting to catch yourself more and more in the reaction state so that you can regulate it and change it back to the soul frequency central channel, grounded, connected, strong energetic boundaries, way of being. This is something that you can, you'll actually see how it changes your relationships. It might change how it feels with the work you do in the world, with people you work with, in partnerships, if you're parenting, how your children respond to you, even like your dog. It's amazing how animals will respond when you shift your energy field out of a defense or a protection mode. So that's just another way to work with that, taking the self-awareness of using your focused awareness for somatic and energy connection, but then like doing something with it, like managing yourself to be in a higher vibrational state. So that's really kind of the goal of what we've been working towards this whole course, is to just understand that you can use your focused awareness to change your energetics of your experience without needing to know like the bajillions of nuances and details and, you know, more information about all these little things I've talked about, and just understand that you can just do it. So the real kind of truth here, or the real secret to being able to live in this way of like less thought merged experience, or less suffering, less anxiety, less traumatic stress response, or what have you, is to just take your awareness mind, connect with it, focus it, come back into your central channel in through the body and feel that. Let it be okay however you are. And then just kind of regulate that and shift that to be as centered, strong, high vibrational, well boundaried, grounded, connected to cosmos as you can. And then just doing that, catching yourself as much of the time as you can. So I think what we'll do right now, we could take a break right now and then come back at 3:00 Mountain Time, when I will do a guided meditation with you kind of around what I just talked about, and then kind of come up with some really tangible, really practical ways to work in this way with yourself and your self-growth work, your self-directed work, your personal journey. And again, put any questions into the chat or reach out with me or Brian outside of the chat if you would like to. And get water, shake, stretch, move your body, breathe, and I'll see you back here at 3:00 Mountain Time. Okay, thanks for hanging in there, everyone who's still live. It's pretty cool. This was long. I wasn't sure how it would feel to be doing this for this long, but I think what I'll do is start with the meditation and then like probably not go a full hour at this point, but just kind of see what happens. So if you want to, I'll just wait a minute to make sure everybody's back. If you have any other questions, they can be really specific, even technical, whatever, send them now. And then, oh, I know, I just wanted to say too, like I forgot to say this at the beginning, but the whole reason that I wanted to do this is because today, like literally March 12th was the day when like our kids went home from school, like the pandemic sort of officially, the lockdown feeling of everything started for us exactly a year ago today. And which also means it's been a year since I've been wanting to do something like this for people. Some of you were there. I know early on I did like a mandala thing one day, and I did a macrame, like I was just doing kind of like more art therapy type stuff because the kids were home, and it was just kind of crazy to navigate and manage all of that at the time. But I never had a chance to try to do any like teaching or helping with self-regulation. So I'm really glad that I can finally be here to do that. And I hope that even if some of this stuff is, you know, not resonating or you're not getting it or whatever, I hope that you are able to take something away from today to help with more self-regulation, more self-awareness, more connection to your higher self, to your soul frequency, And I hope that that will support you and help you as we continue to move through challenging times, which are not really totally going away anytime soon. Oh, that's you parroting me. Okay. So it's hard for me to tell if everybody's back, but I'm just going to assume because everybody's video is off at this point. I'll assume that you're there. Oh, you guys turned your video back on. Okay, so hopefully you're hydrated and in a comfortable spot. We can do this meditation how we did before, where it really doesn't matter if you're standing, sitting, or lying down. That's totally up to you and how it feels for you. I am going to continue to stand in my wide-legged stance where I can like move and feel things. And I'll just invite you in your own way to come into your internal space, whether that's closing your eyes, looking down, or just having a soft gaze. Just reconnecting back in with yourself. It's been a while since we did this earlier. It might feel good to put a hand on your high heart or your lower pelvis area or wherever you feel an especially strong connection to yourself, your soul frequency, your unique imprint of energetics. And just let yourself soften back into that state of observation. Allowing a natural breath, perhaps a deepening. Moving in any way that you need to move. Connecting in with any way that you like to connect in. Maybe remembering the token that you created in the first meditation around feeling the somatic sensation of your soul frequency and going in that way to that higher vibrational state, trusting yourself, coming out of your thinking mind, out of your questioning, analyzing self, and just allowing yourself to be with whatever is present for you now. I can feel and sense there's a lot of like stuff, like there's a lot of signals coming in for people in various ways and directions. And there's also some self-doubt or not being sure that you can trust your knowing. So just want to hold a container for that. I can see and recognize and acknowledge that there's a lot happening. And I also see, acknowledge, and honor your ability to come into your own knowing. You are your own best guide. You are your own healer. You and only you know your truth, no matter what I say. And you can translate this frequency of my words into whatever feels right for you. It feels like there's a strong opening. There's a lot of students, like learners here that are like ready to learn, want to know. And so the information's coming in, and you can invite that and kind of play with your awareness of that. Or you can also say, no, thanks, I'm not really looking for that right now. I'm not looking for any flooding right now. I'm just practicing the titration, coming out of my thinking mind into my body, into my central channel of my energy field, where I can feel the somatic sensation of my unique soul frequency. Breathing and alive here in the human body that I'm in, space and time where I exist. Real life happens. If there's distraction or thinking thoughts or anything tugging at your awareness, you get to remember that you manage your own awareness. You harness and direct your own focus. At any time, you can focus on exactly what you want to focus on, or focus where in the energy field or in the somatic sensation of the body that you want to focus. Really let that higher vibrational energetic feeling expand through your body, so that you might even feel pulsing of energy or flow throughout your whole field. It feels lighter, expansive, brighter, maybe warmer. You might be seeing spiritual colors, especially cool colors, blues and purples, or maybe just pure crystalline light. And from this place of being able to direct your own focus of your awareness mind, I'm going to teach you how to use your focused awareness to change, shift what your energy field is doing and feeling. So we're just going to start by opening up to feeling the whole field, the whole energy field, the ball of light that's around you, and really feel yourself expand into that space. You're beyond your body, but still anchored. Feeling the flow through the central channel. I invite you to let your central channel, the actual size, the circumference of that tube of light, let that expand a little, let that open. Let your central channel breathe. There's so much energy flowing through it at all times, and it needs space to be and to breathe. And you can even tune in with each chakra connection space, starting at the root between the legs and feeling that layer of your field close to your body. A beautiful, strong grid of energy and information. And letting it be just the right amount of relaxed and structured. Letting the root chakra really feel open and alive and connected as this main connection point from your Earth's activation point beneath you at the core of our beautiful, amazing planet. All those layers of life, tangible experience coming up and through the chakra, running through the central channel as a frequency, connecting all the way up and through and out into your field. And letting that smooth over the layers of that first level of your energy body, an inch from your physical body. Like you're wearing a really loving blanket of your own soul frequency, harmonizing and mixing with the beautiful Mother Earth energy. not worrying about if something's not working or if there's a sensation that you don't understand what that is. Let the analytical thoughts go, easily and gently coming back out of the thinking mind, moving any way you need to move, and bringing the awareness back into the sensation, into the energetic knowing. Moving up to the sacral chakra, the second chakra, tailbone and bikini line, and filling that with light, whatever light you imagine that you need in this time and space. Allowing opening and connection through the central channel and out into the second level of your energy field, more like a foot of space around you past the first level of your energy body, a more pastel, ethereal, emotional quality to this level of your field, and just clearing and releasing anything there that doesn't seem to feel right or suit your field. Just letting that go. And inviting flow, brightness, neutral to positive sensation. Moving up to the third level, third chakra, the solar plexus, the mid-abdomen and the mid-back. And really taking a deep exhale here. This part of the body really likes to hold tight in this human world, really tries to contain the energy and keep us on the mental level of ourselves. You may have even gone into the mind and the thinking process. Just gently and easily allow yourself to toggle back to the awareness mind, just sensing and observing. And allowing that more structured grid that exists something like 12 to 15 inches outside of your skeletal body. It's a grid that holds you with just enough structure, just enough support. But it's also organic and fluid and flowing and responsive. It's soft and strong all at the same time, shimmering with golden light, holding your highest knowing and deepest truth of your soul frequency. Connecting in through the portal of that solar plexus chakra, front and back, moving through the central channel, filling the central channel with energy and light. And that level of your energy field provides this beautiful structure between the ethereal levels of your sacral second level of your energy body and the fourth relational and loving ethereal layer of your energy body. Because that's where that feeling of knowing yourself and honoring yourself within relationship in exchange with other, holding just enough space for self and just enough space for connection to other without merging, without fawning, without needing to please. Just able to feel that third level holding the structure of you, and then connecting out through the heart chakra to that fourth level of the field, further out, a couple of feet away from the body, possibly quite expansive as we're all in a relational connection with conscious intention in this group today. clearing and releasing anything that doesn't feel helpful, doesn't feel high vibrational, just letting it go, especially clearing the space behind you, just using your focused awareness as your tool, sensing, observing, scanning, clearing, releasing, breathing. Noticing these nuances of the layers of your field, communicating, flowing, working together. So complex, so much to feel and sense all at the same time. But allow this in as an instant knowing, a sensation without needing to analyze or think your way through it. And feeling this wider, expansive energy field, energy body as the whole of you. You do not stop where your skin ends. And now bringing awareness to the throat chakra, the fifth chakra, front and back of the neck. Letting it flow, letting the grid that connects at the space of your wrist or so, if you hold your arms up to the side of you. This is where the fifth level of your field acts as a structured grid of connection, softness, and structure together, holding the whole of you, allowing you to have strength in communication, strength in self-assertion, and holding your boundaries, emotional and energetic, in knowing your own truth, the truth that comes from the center of you, the energetics running through your central channel, the frequency of your unique soul. Where you take your inner knowing and hold it in a way that can be recognized or seen by others as you and your truth. Being able to take your inner knowing, your soul wisdom, and live that and manifest that into the world. Really sense and feel how far out away from your body that is, and hold yourself there with strength. This creates the space, the opening for that flow of your soul frequency to move through your central channel, in and out of all these portals of the chakras, through the whole field to the all of you. And just beyond that is the sixth chakra, the sixth level of the field at the third eye, in the back, the nape of the neck, where your true soul knowing, your intuition, your higher self exists as an ethereal, emotional, soul connected energy, so wise beyond the human thoughts or the human experience or the nervous system reaction, where your knowing, your intuitive sense exists. Let yourself be in touch here. Let your intuition be what is the most real and true thing for you. Letting that filter back down through all the layers, back to the space of the body, and feeling that as a sensation, a somatic sensation in the body. And then moving back out and through, up through the crown, feeling that energy move up and out of the crown and around, encompassing your entire energy field down to the point beneath your root chakra, where it can come up and back through the root, connecting like a toroidal field, this amazing crystal golden grid of shards of light that shines in a way that our human minds cannot even comprehend, carrying the unique, beautiful imprint energetically of your soul's frequency living through the human body. Connection to the cosmos, to source, to the everything, to each other. And just allowing whatever sensation you're feeling here to be another marker, another token of experience, of somatic expression, of awareness that you can hang on to bring yourself back into this centered, connected, meditative state. And remembering that this is the whole of you. This is who you really are. And this is what you can come back to anytime you're feeling any negativity, any reaction, any powerful mental energy that's hard to separate from. And feeling yourself alive in the space of this energy field, feeling your body again, feeling yourself breathe, feeling your blood flow, feeling yourself move and sway and lean and twist. Knowing this as your highest self, your truest essence, your soul frequency in the human body and the human energy field, by way of your focused awareness, bringing you back to this sensation, back to this observation of yourself. And one last clearing out of anything that doesn't belong, anything that is not you, yours, or your highest frequency. Just release. Let it move on to its highest good. You can put it in an energetic bubble and send it on its way out into the cosmos. And again, revisiting any points of high vibration or strength that felt especially supportive, nurturing, or connected for you. Feeling what that is in yourself. Trusting that you know your soul's wisdom. You can trust your intuition fully. Your intuition always has your highest good in mind. Allowing your energy field to exist in this free-flowing, present state of non-reaction. And lastly, letting the brain take this in, letting new neural pathways form around sense of self as high vibrational soul frequency. Telling yourself a new story with your thinking mind that includes this way of sensing and understanding yourself. And coming back just enough into the physical form of the body, the breathing, gently wiggling your fingers and toes, feeling yourself, maybe stretching or twisting. Start to let your eyes flutter open if they've closed, and we'll come back into the space together. Okay. Welcome back. I think everybody's chilled out, so part of me wants to just leave you to keep chilling. I just wanted to circle back on how important it is when you, so whether you're new to this or new to me today, whether I've known you for 44 years, as at least one person here I have, or whether you're somewhere in the middle of knowing and being aware of and exposed to this way of being and way of being aware, there's always new information and new wisdom gathered. So let yourself connect and bring that in. And what we know about any kind of shifting, any kind of growth that we experience, any kind of expansion, mental expansion, spiritual expansion that we experience, is to continue to grow and evolve and build your neural pathways in that way. We need consistency and accountability. So if you enjoyed what you experienced today and you would like to take this kind of awareness work, soul growth further, I would encourage committing to a practice that is something that you got out of what you experienced today and doing that in your daily life, bringing that into your own self-care routine, making it something that's consistent, make it a ritual, make it a set thing. And then maybe tell me about it. I can help be your accountability partner. Are you doing this? Are you doing this commitment to yourself and to your soul? Or find someone else in the space who is interested in kind of keeping track of each other's spiritual connection and supporting each other and sharing how you're doing these things. I will continue in my inconsistent way to share guided meditations. I'm trying to do at least one a month on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Root Wellness Studio. And I usually post that also in my Facebook group, which is also called Root Wellness Studio. It's a closed group. You have to ask permission to join. I sometimes put more meditations than that. Just kind of depends on how things are going for me / when I remember to just hit record. Journaling alongside of this process is amazing. I also have tons of resources to share with you. I'm not going to go over them here and now, but if you want to do courses or read books or go further and deeper into your knowledge of any of the topics covered today in your own self-exploration, I always have a million ideas and directions to point you for that. It doesn't seem like there's any more questions coming up right now, but definitely let me know. I'm sure, Brian and I have talked about doing another thing we did a year ago is we started a podcast. Did one episode. We actually tried to do a second episode in like December and it just didn't really finish itself. So maybe we'll get back to that. But Brian's really into the quantum physics and the quantum mechanics and the sciencey part of the energy stuff. And I think that that's super interesting. And it's like, there's so much information about that he is really knowledgeable about and can share. So maybe he'll make some videos and information about that. You guys know me, I'm like actually so busy doing individual sessions that I really don't know how often I'll be able to do this kind of thing, but I'm hoping in the future to do something like this again when I can create some space and time for it. but I really appreciate you being open and joining today and being here, especially those of you who were here the whole time. I'm like so impressed and amazed because I don't think I could have sat here for 4 hours and done this, or 3.5. So, okay. I love and honor each and every one of you so much. And I'm always here to further have conversations about this stuff or to help support you in any way that I can. But I hope that you all have a good weekend. Those of us in Colorado, so far it's not snowing, but be safe, be careful. And I will see each and every one of you at some point sometime soon.